Hello and welcome to the Addicts Anonymous podcast. I'm your host, Jim R. Today's episode 157, and we're going to be interviewing Charles R. How you doing, Charles?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
I'm glad to have you. So do you go by Charles or Charlie, or what do I call you?
I go by Charlie or Charlie,
Charlie?
doesn't matter.
All right,
Yeah.
call you Charlie. So Charlie, let's get started here. Tell me about your childhood, going back to the beginning.
All right, childhood back to the beginning, man. I had fantastic parents. They're great. Always there for me. Alcoholism ran in my dad's side of the family pretty bad. I'll get into that in a second. Someone's always a little bit off with me, man. I can't really remember much past elementary school, past kindergarten, but I do remember
What do you
every
mean
day.
something was off?
So like every day we had homework to bring home, element in kindergarten. I would never bring it home. My mom, and this is every day. I'm imagining my parents here. Every day, we had to go back to school, get my homework. Okay, got my homework, I did it. I didn't turn it in. And my mom was just like, what the hell is wrong with this kid? She took me to doctors to like ADD is a big part of my thing, man. It's a little bit off. I didn't quite feel like I fit in. I couldn't really express myself well. I was timid. I also tended, unfortunately, to gravitate towards the bad crowd as a kid. So I definitely had ADD. My mom was taking me to a doctor, and they put me on Ritalin pretty early.
How old were you?
I was in third grade, I think, when I started taking Ritalin.
Isn't it crazy how we put kids on? Well, I don't know what I would do if I was a doctor. Now that I say, because if I know somebody's suffering, and they're because I know what it's like to have ADD. It sucks. I have ADD,
Yeah.
ADHD. I get
Yeah.
manic very fast. We were just talking before the episode about how I do 3 podcasts a day.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's my hyperactivity. Just I'm laser focused.
Yeah. Definitely, man. I was just at a meeting last week, and my sponsor was like, "Dude, he's like, I can feel your ADD from like 80 feet away. Like you just want to
I get that all the time. Because every now
Yeah.
and then I'll pause and I'll be like, what the hell was I just talking about?
All time, man.
All the time.
All
And
the
then it
time.
comes back to me. But that's the worst. It happens a lot where I'm like brain fart. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? It's just like I'm done. I don't know what I was going with the sentence, and I just veer off track.
All the time, man. All the time. And it's even like I'll even like start telling a story. Like, where was I going with this? Because I usually have a point. Sometimes I forget that too. But definitely ADD, man. Doctors, going to behavioral treatment. Yeah, we just said I don't know. I have kids too. I don't know what I would do because it definitely helped.
Do you think looking back, it was a good thing you got it so young? Because like I said, I don't know what I would do if I was a doctor, because I don't, what would you do if someone was, because I have a daughter now, she's only 2. But if she told me, Dad, this is what's going on, I'm suffering, and I knew there's something out there that can help, maybe a small dose. I don't know. It's very slippery slope when it comes to
It is a
kids.
slippery slope, and it ended up saving and ruining my life. When I got on in third grade, I instantly got like terrific kid, which is a thing here, where I remember I didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't want to be on this stuff because it makes you, like zombified, I guess. But I was doing what I needed to do. My grades jumped up big time. I don't know the answer to your question, man. I think in third grade, you're a kid. I think being hyper is part of being a kid. I don't think you need to go medicate a third grader.
Yeah.
Now, when they're a little bit older, I don't know, man. Because I could just it saved my life. I ended up being very successful. It really, really helped me. I don't know what would have happened in my life if I had not had that. It switched to Adderall at one point.
That was my
yeah, man,
jam.
moving. So my I don't really remember this that well, but my dad, he was apparently an alcoholic, and his brother died the day that my brother was born, which I can't imagine what that would feel like. I was 5 years old. So my dad poured out all the booze, and he's never drank since. So I don't remember him drinking. I never really got to see that side of him.
Did your dad's brother die from alcoholism?
He drank rubbing out. Yeah, it's a crazy story, man. He went 10 years without sober. And he said, I finally learned how to have a beer, and 10 days later he was dead. He drank rubbing alcohol and he died.
That sounds like the story in the big book. If I'm not mistaken, it was a guy who's a high-powered businessman, and he decided not to drink during his career so he could retire.
Mhm.
And upon retirement, he was dead within a very short period of time. He just drank himself.
Yep.
It's crazy what we do. I was talking to my sponsee, and pardon my language, but exactly what I said is, I go, as an addict, if we fuck up, we die.
Mhm.
Some other people, they get a second chance. If they mess up, that's something in life. As an addict, you could die like that, especially nowadays with the fentanyl and everything.
Absolutely, man. Definitely. It's crazy. It's yeah. I mean, thought he could have a beer. 10 days later, he was dead. And my dad he said that just anytime he hears anything about alcohol, or it just brings back the pain to him. He's got zero interest. So I never saw that side of him. One thing, getting into my problem, he always said my brother, and I wish he would have said me, not my brother. Just like, it's your brother, it's not you, So, yeah, man. Moving forward, fifth grade, I started to not do so well in school. As I said, hanging out with bad kids. I remember I was getting in trouble, for a fifth grader. I wasn't like smoking weed or anything yet. I ended up
What kind of trouble were you getting into?
just grades were falling, hanging out with the bad kids, man, like just headed for a bad path. Bad enough, and I just was not being disciplined, not listening to my parents. Bad enough that they were considering putting me in military school. Ended up transferring me to a small Christian school here that had like 7 people in the grade, in fifth grade. So I went there through 7th grade. I actually failed 7th grade there, failed. So I went back to public school, and that was weird because, all my other classmates were like, oh, what's he doing here? He's a grade below now.
Yeah.
Turned out being good though, man. Then I was on Adderall at this point, I think, like 5 milligrams or something. I don't know. My mom split up the tablets. I didn't know anything about what I had at all. I didn't know much about Adderall at that time, of course.
You just took what your parents said.
That's right. I just took it. And I just realized, like, hey man, all I gotta do is listen in school. Just listen.
Did you recognize consciously, like, oh, this medicine's helping me?
I did, sort of in high school. I did. Once I got to high school, I realized this is really helping me, man. I just started listening. I started playing sports in 7th grade. Started to excel. Didn't hang out with bad kids anymore. And when you're asking about this helping, I remember like before physics class, I would take like 2.5, I don't know, like a tiny little dose. And it definitely helped, man. I did really well in high school. I finished 17th out of 150 people, I think. I played 3 sports. I was very successful in that. I would say I was one of the cool kids. I was one of the popular kids, for sure. Things were going really well in my life. I fast forwarded a lot there. Things were going really well. I got a scholarship to play football in college.
What position did you play?
Cornerback.
Oh, look at you. I was a center. I used to have your friends' hands up my ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. And I wrestled in track as well. And if you'd have told me like drug addict or alcoholic at this point, like you're gonna end up being this, I would have said you're out of your mind, man. There's no way.
I was the same way. Like I remember it was junior year. That was a really good year for me. Pretty much everything you said, except I wasn't a star football player. I was good, but I wasn't a star.
Yeah.
Because at the time I'm bipolar and I was unmedicated. So I was one of those crazy kids that just loved the whole, I get to hit someone else and I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hated hitting. I hated it. I hated it. It hurts, man.
Oh yeah, especially quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks, 9 times out of 10, you don't see it coming when you get hit.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
trying to trust your lineman to keep you in that pocket, and sometimes right from behind you get smashed,
Yeah.
and
That
you
was,
got to hold on to the ball.
yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess one thing to mention here is I did start smoking weed in high school.
What
Uh,
age?
16 probably. And it wasn't weird, man. Like my whole team smoked weed. If they would have drug tested us, there would have been like 2 people left on the team. It's, started doing it before school and stuff too. Uh, it got, I don't know if I'd say it got bad. I mean, I smoke weed every day. I guess you could say it got bad. To me, it seemed normal though.
How much would you say you were smoking like a day?
Well, the quality of the stuff back then is quite like it is these
Not
days.
like it is nowadays. I know. I used to
Man.
get that dirt weed with the seeds.
Yeah, the dirt. I mean, dude, we would, me and my buddies would hotbox a car on like a Friday night.
You sound like me. We have a lot in common. I remember what we would do is we would drive around, hotbox a car with like 5 people in it, packed, 5
Yeah,
points.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then we would go under a street light, and at one time we'd all hop out of the car and just watch the smoke billow out because we were stoned. We'd be like, look at it, man.
Yeah.
One time a cop rolled by and just looked at us, and we were like, we are screwed.
Uh-huh.
He just kept driving for some reason. He saw it. He completely saw it, kind of shook his head, and just kept driving.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because the cops knew me around town, so they knew I was a bad kid where I got in stupid trouble, but I was a good kid. Like they knew that, like in my heart, I wasn't ever trying to hurt someone. You know what I mean? So I was lucky.
That's awesome, man.
So some of the cops were cool. Other cops were assholes to me because I sold weed and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
They found out about that. Yeah, I got arrested for that shit.
Wow. Yeah, man, dude. I remember one time we smoked like 17, 20 bowls or something like that. It was just stupid. It was a lot. I don't know, man. We'd go through a lot, like a quarter of the night or something. But yeah, man. So things went well. Things were going well. Kind of fast forward where sort of the first, I mean, I guess you could say smoking weeds. I drank the first time. Oh, I did skip my first drunk. I guess that's part of the story. That was in 7th grade.
You skipped what?
I skipped part of the, probably, alcoholism is my problem here. Part of, drunk the first time is kind of important. In 7th grade, man, snuck into my parents' liquor cabinet. We got a 5th Sky vodka. Never had drank, man. Really, I had like a glass of wine and stuff, but me and my buddy, we get into that vodka and we didn't know anything about like how long it takes to kick in or anything like that. We drank like half of it. I'm weighing like 110 pounds probably just at this time, and didn't feel anything, man. I'm like, I don't think it's working, man. So ended up killing the whole thing. And we just got. I still say to this day that's probably the drunkest I've ever been in my whole life.
I can imagine. That's the first time ever drinking.
Shit faced, man. Like, yeah, I remember just laying in a bed, just like spinning, throwing up all night. We had to work at 7 in the morning the next day too, at a restaurant, and my parents caught us. I went into my brother's room and just like started asking him about a chicken bone or something like that, and he goes downstairs like, Dad, Charlie's acting really weird, like really weird. I think something's wrong with him. And that's when it was just starting to kick in, and it was bad, man. So that was the first time getting drunk. Drank, we partied. I guess this is a big part too, man. I skip a lot. We partied a lot, man. My football team partied a lot every week.
In high school or college? Where are we at right
now? In high school.
In high school.
We partied a lot, man. Every weekend we had a party, and it was awesome, fun time, man. I'm not gonna lie about it. Just kids, 40s, drinking them freaking King Cobra 40s and stuff. It was all of us. So it wasn't really, I was no different than anybody else. One thing I sort of did notice at early age was I was able to kind of hold it together better than other people, sort of. Like I could be the one to drive people home, even though I was just as drunk as them. From an early age, I didn't have a tolerance or anything built up at that point. That's kind of a sign. So that's high school, man. High school was good. Loved it. Then I went to college. It was a Southern Baptist school. I was a pre-med major there. And I remember I had like a lot of biology to study. And it was the first time I took an entire Adderall. And I was like, I got to study a lot, man. I'm gonna take a full one. And then I was like, oh shit. What do I have here, man? Like, what is this?
Would you say that's the first time it gave you euphoria?
Yeah, for sure. I had no idea, man. I've had it my whole life, and I never felt like that. But I took it as I was supposed to, man. I studied really hard. It really helped me a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I was in the library all the time, did really well. School, I had like a 3.8 GPA pre-med and playing football, which is pretty hard to do. I applied to go to UNC Chapel Hill, which is a really, really good school. At the time, it was the fifth public school in the country. Didn't get in my first time, which was crazy to me because, I said I graduated, I think, over a 4.0 GPA in high school, and I'm playing football, and I got 3.8 in college. And so I kept studying, man, kept doing well. Adderall started being part of a thing that I would like keep in my pocket now, like just taking it as needed. I never ran out early or anything at that point.
What were you prescribed, one a day?
I was prescribed 220 milligram SMU tablets.
220s.
Yeah. And then I smoked weed every day afterwards, because come down off the Adderall, you feel pretty shitty. So we'd smoke a blunt every night. Then I got a vape, and I was in chemistry class, and I thought, like, this is so cool, man. You're like vaporizing the THC, you're not smoking it, you're not combusting it. And I was like into the science of it. And I was doing it in our dorm room, man. And I remember one of my teammates came up and was like, dude, this whole hall, like, you can't be doing that, man. You're gonna get caught. Like, smell it as soon as I opened, the hall door. And one night we were playing Xbox and I had surround sound speakers. It probably sounded like actual machine guns going off in our room. We're just high as shit, man. And the RA came in and got arrested. No one saw us leave the school, get arrested. Got it dropped, man. Did community service and stuff like that. Wasn't a big deal. Ended up getting into Carolina, transferred into Carolina. And this is sort of when I started. The school's very difficult, man. I transferred into off-campus housing with a crew that partied pretty hard. And I thought it was awesome, man. Like, it's awesome because I love partying. I wasn't like out of control yet. It's a weekend type thing. I mean, I guess you could say smoking weed is too, but yeah, man, like first week there, we had a beer draft thing where we had 13 cases of beer, and they did like an NFL draft, and 2 teams, and you just race through the cases, man. And it was just debauchery, dude. I mean, I woke up on the floor like first time, like, what the hell? It wasn't just me, like everybody, like, what the hell happened? I thought, this is awesome, man. I'm having a great college. It's so fun. So, I watched American Pie, all that, and these movies, you think that's what it's supposed to be like. That's what college is supposed to be like. And so then I started, started class. It was hard. And this is when things started to get kind of bad. I started to think that, like, the more Adderall you took, the better you would do, like the harder you could study, which is true to a point. Once you start getting around, you're tweaking, man.
There's a reason all the college kids take it. I mean, they wouldn't take it if it didn't work.
That's right. But there's a point where you're taking too much and it's not helping anymore. It's
exactly.
You're just tweaking out, man. And that's kind of what started to happen to me. I didn't realize any of my addiction things. I didn't really realize that they were happening at the time. I didn't realize. I just know my grades started to slip. One of my classes, I didn't get it. I just quit going, man. I just took it like a 10, like a 10. My grade was probably like a 10 at the end of the year. I just quit going. My grades started dropping. I would wait till the last minute. I procrastinate. My roommates partied and stuff, man, but I didn't really have a problem at that point. I did the same as them. They were all successful while doing well in class. It was Adderall, man. bad. It was getting bad. I would run out early often. Have to get it from other places. And I never drank. I never wanted to drink if I took Adderall because I didn't want to take a depressant to ruin Adderall. I was definitely abusing it at this point, man. Playing video games and all that. It was so fun. Had a great time. It was ruining my life. Kind of came to a head, and I had a sculpture class that I had to take. And I've kind of been binging on Adderall, I guess you could say. And I was unable to complete my project. My teacher saw me working on the project, and I couldn't get it to stick together with glue at the end of the day, and I failed that class, which led to me being ineligible to return. And it was like my senior year. I had like 150 credit hours, man. It's just crazy. I should have definitely been able to graduate. But yeah, so I had to go home, to my parents' basement, and things just got bad then, man. I didn't really realize if I was depressed at the time. It started to turn to back and forth from Adderall to drinking at that point. That's when and then I just said, screw it, I'm not gonna be able to graduate, man. I couldn't get the classes I needed. I guess I fast forwarded a lot there. So I was unable to graduate college due to not being able to get the courses that I needed, which were like the basic entry-level courses that I had already taken at my other school. And they didn't transfer over. So I just couldn't get them because the freshmen got all those classes. And since I was ineligible, I was last to be able to pick classes, and I couldn't get them. Kind of an excuse, I guess you could say, man. I'm sure I could have called somebody and got it taken care of if I really wanted to. So it was back and forth Adderall at this point, and drinking. I would start running through my Adderall in like 5 days, man, which is a lot. It's a lot. I was taking
that's
my
fast.
my whole 30-day prescription in like 5 days, and just not sleep like at all. And I didn't realize this was happening to me, as crazy as it is. And I would drink. I started drinking when I ran out to use like shit. Dopamine levels just dropping. In parents' basement. Let's see. So yeah, man, started drinking pretty heavily at that time. Once again, didn't think I had a problem. I was working in my dad's office at this time, making like $200 a week. It was terrible. Just go home and drink, take my Adderall, run out. I stole it from my brother. My brother had Adderall. I stole it from him so many times. And he knew, dude. I mean, he knew, like, and of course I would deny. Then let's see what else we got here.
Were you working? Actually, you just said you were working with your dad.
Working with my dad, sort of as his secretary, actually.
Gotcha. So what was your social life like at this point? Were you just all by yourself getting drunk and doing Adderall, or did you still party with friends?
Oh, that's a great question, man. I was basically by myself, man. I had like one friend here back in town that I would hang out with and we would drink. It was mainly by myself and Adderall, honestly. Looking back at it. What's funny is I go back and look at some of my Facebook posts, man. I was so arrogant and stuff. And I was talking to my sponsor about this, like, well, you're on drugs, man. I have these so cocky post that I was putting. It's like, man, you're in your parents' basement doing nothing with your life, nothing, man, like loser. Like, but dude, if you were to saw my posts, it's just, they're cringe. They're so cringy, man. I gotta go back and like delete them so I can't let my kids see into this stuff. So yeah, man, met my current wife. Now, this is when things really, 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 I guess you could say, got bad. I moved in with her. And before I was in my parents' basement, I had to keep myself at least presentable. They knew I was drinking, but presentable because they saw me, and I couldn't just be shit faced in front of them. And we have a restaurant. My wife wouldn't get home until 10 o'clock at night, so this is when I started drinking bad, man. So I would come home, I do insurance for a living, and I've always noticed, man, this is kind of going back to just I'm much more comfortable talking to people if I have had a drink. It goes back to girls and stuff, man. I used to be very, very shy around girls, and I never get it. As soon as I drink, man, no problem. That's just lifted. It's totally gone. I'm like, wow, this is so much better. And it kind of carried over into sales too, man. I started thinking like, oh, I can have a little bit before I go into work. And I mean, I've had people ask me if I've been drinking because and I ask, why do you ask that? And it's because you're so happy right now. You're too happy. Like, that's not a good thing to say to me. I've been told that many, many times by people. But so it definitely makes me, I drink, I'm a loosey-goosey, happy person. And it just helped me talk to people. I was doing well, doing pretty well in my job. My partners, I work with my brother and my dad, and they're kind of getting frustrated with me. So I come in smelling like alcohol. It's like, because I just drank, they thought it was the day before. But it was right before I came in. It wasn't much in the morning, it started with, I don't know if you know what club tails are. I don't know if you have those around there. Club tails are like 12% alcohol, and
It's a beer.
It's a malt liquor,
It's a malt
sugary
liquor.
one. It's disgusting, dude.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
I
it.
don't have one of those. They're like 16 ounce, 12 ounces, no, sorry, 16 ounces. 12% alcohol. So I'd have like 2 of those sometimes before. You smell the malt liquor stinks, man. So yeah, then I would go home and drink. And then it just started getting really, really bad, man. I started getting where I was drinking all the time. I would have alcohol here in the office. I would have, by the time I would get home, I would be shaking. I remember having to like hold the bottle with 2 hands, man.
What were
Not
you
good.
shaking from?
Throwing
Withdrawal?
up yeah. And I didn't even know, man. This is what I thought. I thought just because I was drinking so heavily, I was not sleeping, man. I would go like 4 days without sleeping. I'm not kidding, like not at all sleeping. And I thought that I'm shaking because I'm not sleeping. So eventually I knew it was from the alcohol, but yeah, man, holding bottle with 2 hands. Uh, my grandma passed away in Texas. I remember just alcohol started to be incorporated into every single thing I did. It had to be planned out or I'm screwed. I brought a handle to her funeral in Texas. Just drinking just to feel okay, man, at this point. Got married in St. Lucia at Sandals. I remember when we got there, I was shaking. I couldn't fill out customs paperwork. And I, once again, thought it was from sleeping. Sandals is an all-inclusive resort. You can drink all you want.
Your fiance didn't say anything?
She, dude, she didn't really, it blows my mind. I was a sneaky son of a bitch, dude. I really, really did my best to cover my tracks, and I did pretty good. I can tell you, if she ever like lifted up I made sure to put all my trash at the bottom under all the bags in the trash can. I had it was everywhere. At this point, I had alcohol hidden all over the house, so I could like go into another room, early in the morning. She could accuse me of drinking. I could be like, what are you talking about, man? I just went to the bathroom, like, just went in the garage. That was everywhere. I had it just hidden. So, of course I had it on the fridge too. So if you could see that, but, she didn't know how bad it was. And man, I was doing well at my job, which is crazy to me. I was doing well. I mean, I think I was in the top 10 in the state of North Carolina. And I'm in an office, man. I'm in a closed area, not out open. Like people had to smell it. They had to like, I look back at pictures, man. I just looked like shit faced all the time. Like just looked terrible, man. Sandals cleared out. They restocked the fridge with 2 bottles of wine and I don't know, 12 beers. I drank that over the night, every night, like through the night. I drank all day, man. I remember telling them, make it strong. You know, it's bam, 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 just drink, 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 drink. And I cleared that out overnight. And she, you know, she didn't even know about that. Um, that's when I decided to stop taking Adderall as well. That's when, actually a little bit before that is when I stopped taking Adderall, and that's when the drinking just really, because, you know, as I said, when I took Adderall, I did not drink. So I would go like those 5 days when I would take the Adderall, and I wouldn't drink, man. And that kind of kept my, I guess, from going to full chemical, like dependency, physical dependency on the alcohol. But once I stopped taking Adderall, man, that's when things really just, the drinking got out of control. Throwing up blood every morning, man, every morning. Wash it down with vodka, you know, just more vodka. And her family came up from Thailand. She's Thai, and her family was here from Thailand. And one of the things that, this is the first time I ever had thought to stop, like I might need to slow down a little bit, was my brother had asked me, you know, when someone thinks of you, 3 words come to mind, like what do you want them to be, you know, because he's like, right now, one of them is a drunk. And that really, really hit me hard. So I was like, okay, man, I need to do better. I need to stop this. So I tried to taper on my own, man. Her family's here from Thailand. I am I've never experienced DTs. I have never hallucinated like this. I didn't even realize that I was hallucinating. I unplugged every single thing in the house, man. I thought the cops were like tapping our house. I'm out looking through the window with the AR-15 scope, thinking there's like zombies outside. I'm talking just like total psychosis, just bad. Her family's here. She's at work. They're like, hey, and I thought my teeth were coming out of my head. That's how bad I'm hallucinating. And her family calls her. She's at work, like, you need to come. You need to come get him, man. Something's wrong. And I thought my parents thought I was doing meth. I was not doing meth. So I thought I was going to the hospital to do a drug test. Because I thought my teeth were coming out. Because I thought my teeth were coming out, they weren't. Just all in my head, man. And so I get there, they ask about my drinking. This is detox, and they're like, you know, they're very awesome about everything, not push it all. Like, you want to just come in here? We could. I hadn't slept for days, man. Shaking, just, you know, want to pull your skin off. Crying, just heard all kinds of just awful auditory hallucinations of my parents and my family. My wife saying she's going to leave me, and like, it was awful, man. It was absolutely heartbreaking, but it wasn't true.
Sounds like a mess.
It was a mess, man. It was bad. It was really bad, man. So I went to detox, and that was the first time that I had stopped drinking. As soon as I got out of detox, man, I drank immediately, like immediately. I don't even remember. I talked them into letting me out early somehow. This is all foggy, man. My brain was just so.
You said you grabbed a drink first thing out of rehab?
First
detox?
Yeah. And my parents came to see me, and they're like, what the hell are you doing, man? And I'm like, shit, I got problems. This isn't good. Like, you need help, man. I'm like, yeah, I think I do. So I went to treatment in Minnesota for 30 days. It was awesome, man. It saved my life. I don't think I'd be here without it. It's a place called The Retreat in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's all AA. Everyone that works there was in recovery. I had never heard anything about this stuff, man. I didn't know. You know, looking back, I was like, man, there ain't nobody doing what I'm doing. This is insane. Like, nobody in the world is doing what I'm doing, like drinking like this much. I mean, I was up to two fifths a day at one point, I guess you could say. Yeah, definitely 2 fifths a day. Everything was alcohol, and I got to hear other people that were the same as me, and I was like, man, this is crazy. And then, you know, I'd never heard other people talk about recovery, and that were the same as me, and now they haven't drank in years. Dude, you know, I do insurance, man. We're talking about, like, we have products that are for retirement. I was not interested in that. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make it 65 years old. There's zero, like, I'm not gonna make it 40. I'd accepted this. Like, I'm gonna die from this. And it's just the way it is. So that was awesome, man. I went there. I got out of the retreat. You know, you kind of think you're better. You kind of feel, you think that like you're fixed.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling.
There was a wedding, man. There's a wedding that I had to go to. It was my sister-in-law's wedding, like the week I got out. And I was just, they're like, you don't need to go to that. I'm like, I have to go to that. I have to go. So I went, drank, and we went to their honeymoon, drank there. And then I remember, went to the mall afterwards. I'm back at the bar sneaking drinks. Man, it was just kind of off and on there for a little while. And I was doing better. I wasn't like I was. Then there went through a period where I drank, I drank like 2 bottles of wine every day. I'm just slamming them, man. I mean, people talk about taste. I didn't care. I'm just trying to get drunk. I slammed 2 bottles of wine. And I went through some pretty bad detox by myself. It was very unpleasant. I remember thinking like I should probably be in the hospital right now. This was after a couple of weeks of doing that every day. And I came out, I went to AA, but I didn't do the thing, man. I didn't do the AA. Like I went to some meetings, but I didn't do any of the suggestions that were given to me. My sponsor fired me because I did nothing that he said to do. Nothing. And he's like, don't take this personally, man. I like you a lot and I'm gonna be your friend, but like there's no point in doing this sponsorship thing if you're not gonna do any of the suggestions I have for you. I just remember texting him like, please pray for me, man. I can't stop, Went through those withdrawals, it sucked bad. I said I'm never doing this again. So I did 30 meetings, 30 days, and this is during COVID. I ended up throwing together 9 months, man. During COVID, as I said, we had a restaurant, so I was working every single day. As you and I were just talking about, boredom is bad. It's not good for me, and I was working every day, all day. So that, drinking, I just didn't drink. I was not going to meetings, but I wasn't drinking. Working every day. I don't remember what made me relapse, man. I just probably thought, I think after like 9 months, I'm like, oh, I'm better now, I'm better now. I've been 9 months, I can have a drink. And my wife gets pregnant with twins. I'm fast forwarding a lot here, man. I got to where I did 60 days when they were born. And then I don't really know what happened, man. I wasn't going to meetings, wasn't working my sobriety at all. That's what happens, man. Like for me, if I just like think I'm just not going to drink, I might do it. But 60 days was a big deal for me at that time. I was drinking, my typical schedule is like I'll start on a Thursday or Friday and I'll end Monday. And it sucks. I'm usually going through withdrawals because I drank like all day. I mean, it's all day for me. When I start, it's all day. But it's not enough. I try to hide it. It's not enough that people really know, unless they smell it, which it's hard. So my wife is a dog, man. She can smell anything. So yeah, man, fast forward, we had the kids, 60 days. Then I thought, maybe on weekends, I can have some. And I did pretty good with it, man, honestly. I didn't really blow the hinges off that bad. But it did start becoming like a priority in my life again. And I'm gonna fast forward now to this last time. So it was my kids, her family's back from Thailand again, man. Second time. Last time they were here, this happened. They're back. So
they probably think you're just insane at this point.
They probably do. She said me down and she's like, look, Charlie, my family's here from Thailand. Please do not get shit-faced. Do not drink, or if you do, just control it, I said, okay, no problem, I'll do that. And so there's this Rhythm and Brews festival here that we went to, and I went to that. There's beer. I had 2 beers, and that just started it off, man. I had not drank for 30 days before this, which was another really big deal for me, man. I had struggled to put together 30 days, like really. I mean, that was everything I had, man. It was like 30 days. hadn't done it since the kids have been born. Not even close. You know, it's usually like 4 days at a time. That started it, man. So went to Rhythm Brews, drank. Trying to remember how this all happened, man. I ended up going to a liquor store at some point. Plan was to, and I drank way more than this. I think I was shit-faced when I was at the liquor store than I remember I was. Plan was to just sip on that alcohol that I bought at the liquor store, the vodka, and I got a fifth and a pint. Important to note here, I have zero tolerance because I haven't drank in 30 days. I drank the pint Saturday along with probably 5 or so 16-ounce, 8% truly extras, which I just sip on, man, you know. So you could probably tell I was drinking, but not like I'm not, you know, hammered. The night before their party, man, this is just like the book says, man. Book says we have a tendency to get, you know, hammered at the worst possible time. You got 40 people coming over, man. You know, they all think I've been sober. I drank the entire fifth of vodka over the night. It's really hazy, man. I woke up aching, like my hips are aching. I think I like fell down everywhere. I don't know. I mean, I slammed it. I do remember slamming like the whole fifth. You know, we had wine and all that stuff at the party, and I was shit faced, man. I had people coming up to me like grabbing me by the shoulders, and they're like, "Charlie, dude, your kid." They're like, "What are you doing, man? Like, you need to get your shit together. Your kids need you, you know." It's bad, man. Bad. And I was pretty hammered, like really hammered. And I had drank enough to know that I needed to go to detox over the last couple of days. It's their first birthday party, man. It's disgusting. I was more excited to drink than celebrate their birthday, which makes me sick, man. I mean, it really makes me sick. You know, I love them so much, and so yeah, man. I left to go to detox, crying, like just crying my eyes out, man. Everyone saw me, you know. Not everyone saw me go to detox, but everyone saw me drunk. Everyone knew. I had people like texting me, like, reaching out, like, "You okay, man? Like you were, you know, you were pretty bad yesterday." You know, when I got out, and I apologized to everyone. Went to detox, and I just said, "This has to stop, man. This is it. This has to stop no more." And my wife has been very supportive. So I went to detox, man. Got out, went straight to a meeting. And this time I'm just doing what they say, man. I got a sponsor real fast, which anyone out there that's struggling, man. I mean, I've been to probably hundreds of AA meetings, but having a sponsor and talking to him every day. And really what I did, man, I got 2 businesses and kids. I got a million excuses to not do what he says. Like, it is extremely inconvenient for me sometimes. Some of the suggestions he has are really, I mean, I'm a very, very busy person. And I just said, all right, man, my way has got me here. I'm gonna do what you say. And it's changed everything, man. I'm at, I think, like 94 days right now. And I'm not white knuckling it. I'm feeling, you know, I'm going to several meetings a week, talk to him every day. He just gives me homework to talk to other alcoholics every day. So I'm doing this. I honestly, and I'm saying this, like, I honestly have no desire to drink right now, today. And I haven't for a while. And it's been awesome, man. I still get grumpy. When I would have took a drink before and it would have made everything okay. But, you know, I just got to play the tape forward, man. I mean, you know, I went 30 days without drinking. Here I am slamming a fifth of vodka like that, man. It's just right back where you left off. It's insane, man. It's insane. It's just like, you know, I've tried everything, man. I could tell you guys I've tried everything to moderate. So it ain't just me reading a book saying that you can't moderate. Like, I've tried. I've tried everything. And yeah, man, it's so awesome now, like, not having to lie, man. You know, I used to walk around and have to hold my breath all the time because I know you smell it, and just hide shit everywhere, hide the bottles everywhere, man, and just like really cover my tracks. And I was a fraud, it's all phony, it's all fake. Like so nice, and it just everything I did, man. Go for a hike, so go to a brewery afterward. Being able to go for a hike and just not think about that, man. Like just enjoy the hike, and be with your kids, and just it's great, man. So I go to meetings all the time. It's really helped doing the work while I'm on here with you right now. I hope. I don't only have 90 days, man, but I do feel that I have taken my last drink. I know it's one day at a time too, and that's definitely true. But things are going really well for me right now, man. And it's crazy, just everything. I mean, work has blossomed. This kind of happened since 2019 when things were really bad. Like my life has drastically improved. And I know that I had to hit the bottom, man. And just doing things like this and talking about this reminds me of just how bad it gets, because it's crazy how our minds work, man. Like you'll forget. I remember my sponsor, I was like, I can't forget that feeling. Goes, well, leaving their birthday party to go detox. And he said, oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can definitely forget that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You have any questions for me?
No, that was a great interview. You really did well telling your story. I think everything you've done past 94 days, you should be proud of.
I am, man. I'm really am proud. It's just talking to people. It's like you guys, my wife. It blows my mind, man. She'll go get a glass of wine, like leave half of it or 3/4 of it full, and like walk away. And I just, just telling her that this has been so hard for me. Like it's the hardest thing I've ever done, man. I've done some pretty difficult things in my life, and this is certainly the hardest thing that I have ever had to do, and it's the best thing I've ever had to do. It's great. I'm very proud, man. I mean, getting that red chip is just it's better than anything I've gotten in sports or grades or anything, man. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's great, bro. It's great.
Thanks.
So I got no questions for you. I mean, you pretty much, like I said, that was a great interview. You did a great job telling your story. I mean, like I said, you should be proud of everything you're doing. And today, yeah, you're definitely helping people, because I've had people reach out to me and say they listen to it and they relate to the stories and stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't want to say if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I hate that. But I just want anybody listening to this, man. I mean, I was bad. It was bad. Like when I went to detox, the doctor, my mom's a nurse, and the doctor was like, dude, I'm not supposed to talk to you about his medical record. He's dying. Like he has to stop this. My liver counts were like way high, man. I mean, way high. I was dying. I wouldn't be talking to you right now, man. If this didn't stop. There's no doubt about it. You just can't keep doing that. What I was doing. And health too, man. Another thing. My health is. I've lost like 50 pounds, working out every day, just really taking my health into account. Oh, and I'm worried about retirement now, because I'm thinking I'm going to make it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you. We're very similar in a lot of ways, we think. But yeah, did you have anything else you want to add?
No, gentlemen, good. Thank you.
And I actually asked everybody, my one last question is, do you have any advice for people listening or watching?
I do, man. I do have advice just from what myself. One is like if you're really struggling, like really like treatment. I know it's a big decision, man. It's a big decision. It's freaking terrifying. That is one thing that I would recommend if you can do that. The second thing is if you're going to AA, like, and I know people always say this, but like seriously, get a sponsor. Just do what they say, man. Just don't make excuses. Just do what they say. Exactly what they say, and give it like as long as I've been doing this 90 days, because he's given me this stuff that I was going to do, and I said, all right, I'm going to do that for 90 days. I can go to all these meetings that you want for 90 days, and that's changed, man. I'm going to keep doing it. He's not making me do anything. I mean, he doesn't never make me do anything, but it's made such a drastic impact on me. It helped me. And I've tried so many times, man. I mean, I've done so many things. This is the first time that I've been this far in and felt this way. Like I'm happy, man. I have no desire to drink. I'm proud of the man I'm becoming. I think my business partners are happy to have me, and that's just awesome, man. I mean, I've been a freaking train wreck for a long time. That is my suggestion is, there's a difference if you're doing the AA, whatever works for you, whatever works for you guys. But if you're doing the AA, like do it, like really do it. And don't say it doesn't work if you're not doing the work, like I'm doing right now. And that's all I got, man. There is help though, guys. It sucks. I know how bad it is to be handcuffed and just trapped in that cycle. It's hell. I wish you guys the best, man.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
Thank you.
All right, man. So let's wrap this up. For everybody watching and listening, if you like what you saw and heard, go below and give us a like. Also subscribe to see when we upload new videos. You can also check us out at Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Tumblr. You can also check out our website, www.addicts-anonymous.com. There you'll find plenty of resources and all types of literature for free. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw and heard. And until next time.